Good morning, children. Now, let's begin to learn science. So, students, in a previous lecture, we had begin with the new lesson, that was lesson number 3, force and pressure. In this lesson, we had learnt about what is a force, and also we have seen the Newton's first law of motion, and also in our previous lecture, we came to know about what is a contact force. Now, in this lecture, let's learn new concepts. Before moving further, let's see two more new things about force. Yesterday, we had seen what is a force. So, force is a push or a pull that changes or tends to change the state of rest or uniform motion of an object or changes the direction or shape of an object. We have learnt it. The new concept is that force is a physical quantity and the SI unit of force is the Newton. Now students, you all will be thinking, what is physical quantity? A quantity that can be measured is known as physical quantity. So students, we can measure force. So hence, it is a physical quantity and the unit of force is Newton. Now what is SI unit? SI unit is the international system of units. That means students, after measuring anything, it requires a unit. For example, when we measure mass, suppose mass, we measure the quantity of any substance, then we say that it is of 1 kg, where 1 is the physical quantity and kg, that is kilogram, is the SI unit. Then after that, through observing all these pictures, we came to know what is contact force. What is contact force, students? A force is seen to act through a direct contact of the objects. And how many objects should be there? There should be 2 objects or more than 1 object. So, the force applied directly, it's a direct contact between the 2 objects, are known as contact force. So, that force is called as contact force. Now, moving further, let's see what is non-contact force. Now, let's see the figure 3.2. Here are some events. In the first picture, we can see a magnet which is attracting the nails towards them. In the second picture, the comb is attracting the small pieces of paper. And in the third figure, we can observe that a coconut is falling from a tree. So, what all are these things trying to tell us, children? So, what is our observations in figure 3.2? Iron nails get attracted to the pole of a magnet due to magnetic force. A coconut is falling from the coconut tree. Objects are attracted to the earth due to the force of gravity. And the third picture, when a comb gets rubbed against hair, small pieces of paper kept on a table get attracted to the comb. The comb has an electrostatic charge and there is an induced opposite charge on the pieces of paper and the pieces stick to the comb. Students, in all these three, we can notice that there is no direct contact between the object. The force is not through the direct contact between the object. So, the force applied between two objects, even if the two objects are not in contact, such a force is called a non-contact force. Students, it's clearly seen that a magnet and nails are far away from each other. They are not touching each other. But then also the nails are attracting the magnet. The nails stick to the magnet. And also the pieces of small paper get sticks to the comb. It gets stick to the comb, though they are far, though there is no direct contact between them. So, force applied between two objects, even if the two objects are not in contact, such a force is called a non-contact force. So, from the pictures of figure 3.2, we came to know about non-contact force. What is non-contact force? A force is applied between two objects even if the two objects are not in contact. Such a force is called a non-contact force. Now let's see what is muscular force, and also muscular force is a contact force or a non-contact force. So students, muscular force is an example of contact force. That means it's going to be act through two objects which are going to be directly contact with each other. So, muscular force is an example of contact force and is applied to objects with the help of our muscles. So, students, in the first picture, you can see a man is lifting the weight. To lift the heavy weight, it required muscular force. The force is applied on the muscles. The force is applied directly on the muscles. So, it's known as muscular force. It is applied in several cases. So, muscular force is applied in different and several cases such as lifting, pushing and pulling. While pushing the object, we require muscular force. That means we force the muscles to push the object. So, the force that acts on muscles are known as muscular force, and it is the example of contact force because it's directly between the two objects. On the contrary, forces like magnetic force, gravitational force, electrostatic force act without a contact. Therefore, these are the examples of non-contact forces. You can see in the picture, students, iron nails attract towards magnet because of magnetic force, where the nails and magnet is at a distance from each other. They are not directly attached to each other. So, such forces are called as non-contact forces, and they are the examples of non-contact forces. Now, moving further, let's see what is frictional force. When a ball is kept on a table and pushed a little, it moves ahead and gets slow and stops. Students, when a ball is kept on a table, if we pushed a little, what happens? It starts moving ahead, and at a specific point it gets slow and also stops moving. A car running on a plain road travels some distance and stops after the engine is switched off. Students, why a ball is stopped moving at a specific point and why the car stops running at some distance after the engine is switched off? This is because of the force of friction between the ground surface and the object in motion. In the absence of frictional force, the object would have remained in motion. Students, if the friction is not created between the ball and the table, it would be moving and moving and moving. The ball must have not stopped. And also, if the friction between the car and the road is not created, the car would not have stopped moving. It would be moving, running and running. So, in the absence of friction, the object would have remained in motion. It would have not been stopped. Why the ball is stopping to move? Because friction is created between the ball and the table. So, frictional force is very useful in daily life. let's see how frictional force is helpful to us in daily life. While walking, we push the ground behind with our feet. You can see in the picture. In the absence of friction, we will slip and will not be able to walk. Students, when we are walking on the ground, there is the interlocking between our feet and between the ground surface. That interlocking causes friction because it's not a smooth surface. And same how, if we walk on a smooth surface, we will slip down because there will be no interlocking between our feet and that slippery surface because it is smooth. So, while walking, we push the ground behind with our feet in the absence of friction because the friction is absence. So, we can move further while we are walking. There is the interlocking between the ground surface and between our feet. So, we will slip and will not be able to walk. All the objects in motion have a frictional force acting on them, which is acting in the direction opposite to the direction of motion. Students, if the object is in motion to a direction, so the friction acting on that object will be opposite to it. The direction of the friction will be opposite. It will be totally opposite. You must have seen that one tends to slip over banana peel on the street. Have you ever seen, students? A person can slip over banana peel which is thrown on the road. Why it is so, students? Because if the feet comes on the banana leaf, there is no interlocking between the feet and the leaf. Why? Because the leaf is of smooth surface, so that there is no presence of friction. So similarly, one can slip due to mud. Both these examples occur due to reduced friction. When there is reduced friction, one do not tend to walk. It will slip down. So while walking, we push the ground behind with our feet. So friction is created so that we can move further. And in the absence of friction, there is no interlocking between the two objects. So one tends to slip down. Why it happens so, students? Because of the reduced friction. Have you all understood what is frictional force? So students, in today's lecture, we came to know that force is a physical quantity and its SI unit is Newton. Then we have learned contact force, non-contact force and also muscular force. Muscular force was the example of contact force, and the various examples of non-contact force was electrostatic force, magnetic force and gravitational force. Then we have seen the concept of frictional force. In our next lecture, we will be learning balanced and unbalanced force. Till then, students, watch the video attentively to clear the concepts. Thank you, students. Goodbye. Have a wonderful day.